Welcome back to Anything You Want, the channel where we bring you the most fascinating stories from the Turkish entertainment world. Before we dive into today's intriguing tale, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget, you can show us some extra love by clicking the join button to support the channel even further. Now, let's get into it. In the glitzy world of Turkish celebrities, where every gesture is scrutinized and every moment magnified under the public eye, nothing is more shocking than the unexpected turn of events in the marriage of Aybüke Yılmaz and Emre Özmen. For weeks, rumors and headlines bombarded social media, painting a picture of a relationship on the verge of collapse. The whispers spoke of their broken marriage, a doomed love story that had reached its inevitable conclusion. But just when the public was bracing for an official separation announcement, Aybüke Yılmaz made an unprecedented move that would stun the nation. She refused to sign the divorce papers. This surprising act was not a mere display of stubbornness or idealism, but rather a powerful statement of emotional strength. Aybüke's decision was a defiance of the modern tendency to discard love and relationships at the first sign of trouble. In a world where public figures are often reduced to their headlines and social media personas, Aybüke's refusal to walk away from what she had once cherished symbolized an act of deep emotional resilience. It was as if she were resisting the urge to let go of something that had once been meaningful, despite the pressures from the outside world. From the outset, Aybüke and Emre's relationship was anything but ordinary. Their meeting on a film set, under the spotlight, marked the beginning of a connection that defied expectations. Aybüke, coming off a difficult personal period, and Emre, experiencing the peak of his fame, seemed to be on divergent paths. Yet, in the midst of their contrasting worlds, something unexpected blossomed. Their bond grew not in the glare of publicity but in quiet, shared moments of vulnerability, a connection nurtured away from the cameras, where words weren't necessary to convey their emotions. However, as time passed, cracks began to appear in their once solid foundation. But for Aybüke, the visible strain wasn't a sign of an end. Rather, it was a challenge to be faced. She recognized that the issues between them weren't born out of a lack of love but from the overwhelming pressures of their careers, the relentless demands of the media, and the constant public scrutiny they endured. Despite this, Aybüke refused to reduce their relationship to a mere contractual agreement. She saw Emre not as a celebrity, but as the man who had once held her hand in her most difficult times. That shared history, she believed, was too valuable to be erased with a simple signature on a piece of paper. For many, Aybüke's refusal to end the marriage seemed like an act of desperation, a misguided attempt to hold on to something broken. Critics were quick to label her decision as a refusal to let go, but those who truly understood Aybüke recognized something deeper. It wasn't dependence, but the preservation of memory. She wasn't afraid of being alone, but she feared being forgotten. After all, a divorce isn't merely a legal separation, it's the dismantling of a shared life, the erasure of the small, intimate moments that once defined the relationship. For Aybüke, this was something she wasn't ready to relinquish. In the weeks following the speculation, Aybüke chose to remain silent. She didn't engage in public battles or attempt to justify herself with media statements. She didn't need to, her silence spoke volumes. It wasn't an act of submission, but one of dignity. She knew that publicly tearing down Emre would only tear down a piece of herself in the process. So, she took the higher road, quietly reflecting on the love that had once been and finding peace within herself. Meanwhile, Emre Özmen's emotional turmoil was far from visible to the public eye. Despite continuing his professional commitments and maintaining his public image, those close to him knew that his internal struggle was far from over. Beneath his polished smile, Emry grappled with a storm of emotions. Anger, regret, longing, and confusion filled his heart every time Aybüke's name was mentioned. He couldn't escape the pull of the memories they had created together, and the unresolved tension between them lingered, clouding his thoughts and actions. Aybüke, however, did not chase after him. She did not seek out the media to express her feelings, nor did she go out of her way to make Emry notice her. Instead, she simply existed. She lived her life with calmness and grace, choosing not to let the external chaos dictate her internal peace. Her serenity, however, was not indifference. It was a form of silent resistance, a quiet reminder to Emry that their bond still existed, even if unspoken, and that there was still something worth saving. Time, often a destructive force in relationships, began to work in their favor. Despite everything, the memories they shared were not so easily erased. For Emry, it was as if Aybüke's name had become a song in his heart, a melody that refused to fade, no matter how hard he tried. Fate, as it often does, intervened one ordinary afternoon when the two crossed paths again during a production meeting for Kuma. There was no drama or fanfare, just a coincidence, seemingly designed by life itself. When Emry saw her enter the room, everything seemed to slow down. Aybüke was different, stronger, more composed, and radiating a calm that seemed to draw him in. In those few moments, as their gazes locked, words were unnecessary. There was an invisible connection between them, a recognition of something that had never truly been lost. It was then that Emry realized something that had been obscured by pride, anger, and the chaos of their relationship. Aybüke was never his adversary, she had always been his refuge. Sometimes, life forces us to take a step back in order to understand what truly matters. Emry, seeing Aybüke once again, understood that love is not always about grand gestures, but about the quiet endurance of time and the absence of resentment. And in that moment, he recognized the depth of what they had shared. The press, ever hungry for a resolution, continues to wait for an official statement that will likely never come. But Aybüke has long since made peace with the idea that love doesn't always need to follow the script we expect. Her journey with Emry, rather than a failed romance, has become a meditation on what it means to love in a world of fleeting emotions and instant gratification. In an era where feelings are discarded as quickly as a trending news story, Aybüke chose to wait. Not out of fear, but out of conviction. This conviction has resonated not only with the Turkish public but also with viewers around the world, who have come to see Aybüke as a symbol of quiet strength in an era dominated by superficiality. On social media, she is celebrated as the woman who doesn't give up on love and has become a beacon of emotional loyalty in a time when such qualities seem increasingly rare. And that's it for today's story, folks. What do you think about Aybüke's decision to stay true to her love despite everything? Do you think she made the right choice? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed this story. Remember to subscribe to Anything You Want for more exciting news and insights from the world of Turkish celebrities. See you in the next one.